Hezbollah had just confirmed the shocking news. Their leader Hassan Nasrallah killed in an Israeli airstrike in Dahi, the heart of Hezbollah's power in Beirut. For over 30 years, Nasrallah had been the face of the group's fight against Israel. His loss hits hard, leaving Hezbollah at a crossroads. Just days after a series of relentless airstrikes and secret operations targeting its leaders, this incident sent ripples across the region. So what comes next? Is Hezbollah weakened, or will this push Iran to take drastic action in revenge against Israel? The uncertainty is palpable and the stakes have never been higher. If you are new on my channel, make sure to subscribe, like and share this video in your circle. So who will be the next successor of Nasrallah? With the death of Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah now faces a critical question. Who will step into his shoes? Nasrallah's loss, especially in the middle of Israel's unrelenting offensive, has hit the group hard. Their military infrastructure battered and key commanders gone. In moments like these, Hezbollah's Shura Council is expected to gather, just as it did back in 1992, when Nasrallah's predecessor was assassinated. All eyes are now on Hashim Safieddine, the head of the Executive Council and Nasrallah's cousin, long seen as the likely successor. But with so much at stake, will the transition be smooth, or are there more internal struggles to come? Hezbollah is built to endure, even in the face of losing its leader. With a solid chain of command, the organization should, in theory, be able to regroup quickly. But there is a wild card in this story. Who else among Hezbollah's top brass might have died with Nasrallah? If other key figures were also taken out, it could throw Hezbollah into a period of uncertainty, making it harder for them to regain control quickly. This delay might leave the group exposed at a critical moment, vulnerable to Israel's next strike. In the wake of Nasrallah's death, a pressing question hangs in the air. Will Hezbollah and Iran up the ante and start using advanced precision-guided missiles capable of causing far more damage in Israel than the rocket Hezbollah has fired in the past? Or will cooler heads prevail? Tehran no doubt understands the risks. A full-force response could push Hezbollah into a war that would erode its strength and weaken its role as Iran's deterrent. It's a fine line between vengeance and strategy, and in the coming days we will see which path they choose. The tension is thick and the stakes couldn't be higher. How important is the role of Houthis? With Nasrallah gone, a shift could be brewing in Iran's network of allies, and the Houthis may be ready to set up. Their operations won't slow down. In fact, they are likely to keep ramping up attacks on Israel and Red Sea shipping, all in the name of avenging Nasrallah. But there is more to it than just revenge. The Houthis under their leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi might find themselves in a stronger position within Iran's proxy network. As Hezbollah's influence fades, the Houthis could become a bigger player in Iran's strategic plans, possibly even expanding their operations beyond Yemen. And with Iran's backing, they could soon be armed with more advanced missiles, raising the stakes in the region even further. What will be the next move of Khamenei? Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is now facing perhaps the toughest decision of his leadership. With Nasrallah gone, Iran is caught between two high-stakes choices: strike back hard at Israel and risk plunging the region into war, or hold back and risk weakening the axis of resistance, the very network of proxies that gives Iran influence across the Middle East. Hezbollah has long been Iran's frontline defense against Israel, especially when it comes to protecting its nuclear sites. Now, with Nasrallah's death, the deterrent is in jeopardy. Khamenei's dilemma is not just about revenge. It's about signaling strength to the Axis, reassuring Iran's allies and keeping Israel at bay. Retaliating could spark a wider conflict raging in the US and other powers, but it would show Iran's commitment to its cause. On the other hand, if Khamenei opts for restraint, it might show Iran is seeking a peaceful solution. But would that embolden Israel? Would it make Iran's allies question their trust in Tehran? Whatever Khamenei chooses, the effect will be felt across the region. Iran will need to rebuild Hezbollah's strength, but doing that without Nasrallah at the helm is going to be a monumental challenge. The future of this conflict could very well hinge on Khamenei's next move. Tehran pledges to take revenge. The death of Hassan Nasrallah has shocked Hezbollah and the broader axis of resistance. Nasrallah was not just a leader, he was the architect of Hezbollah's rise to power and a key player in Iran's defense strategy across the region. Losing him is a major setback for Iran. The recent rocket attacks on Israel by Iran have significantly escalated tensions in the Middle East, sending a clear message that Iran won't back down. This development raises concerns about the United States intervening, potentially drawing in Russia, which has historically supported Iran. The stakes are high, and experts warn the region is on the brink of becoming the epicenter of World War III. Israel could find itself stuck. Israel has struck a major blow to Iran's influence in the region. In the short term, this seems like a win for Israel, but it's a moment that comes with enormous risks. Israel now stands at a crossroads. Does it continue down the path of military aggression under Netanyahu, or could it take a step back and pursue a more diplomatic approach? That could mean ending the occupation of Palestinian territories, pulling its military and settlers out of annexed land, and finally addressing the right of return for Palestinian refugees. But Netanyahu's far-right government seems determined to go further. There are already fears that Israel could intensify its actions in Gaza, pushing what some in the United Nations have called an attempt to expel civilian population. And there is the looming threat of Israel launching a ground invasion into southern Lebanon or even striking Iran directly, both of which could spark a much wider conflict. Israel's current advantage could unravel if it doesn't reconsider its path. It's held onto power without much accountability, but that won't last forever. If it doesn't change course, Israel could find itself stuck in endless wars with its neighbors, with peace growing further and further out of reach. The time to make a change is now, before the window closes for good. Is Lebanon on the edge of new civil war? The death of Hassan Nasrallah could be a major blow to the unity of Lebanon, a country already stretched thin by its divisions. This divide is opening old wounds, and many fear it could spark violence in a country that's been holding on to peace by a thread since 1989 Taif Agreement, which ended Lebanon's 15-year civil war. The tensions are already visible on the streets. In Tripoli, a mostly Sunni city in northern Lebanon, people have been spotted ripping Hezbollah stickers from the cars of Shia families who fled there. The sectarian gap seems to be widening, and it's not just an internal problem. regional actors could soon be pulled in. Reports suggest that Iraq's popular mobilization units, a powerful militia, are awaiting a religious ruling to jump into the conflict. Meanwhile, it says that over 40,000 Iranian proxy fighters are stationed at the Syrian-Lebanese border, ready to strike. On the other side, Syrians in Idlib, a rebel stronghold, were celebrating Nasrallah's death, handing out sweets and waving opposition flags. For Lebanon, this moment could signal the start of a new, more dangerous chapter. If the violence and external involvement escalate, the fragile peace Lebanon has managed to maintain might be at risk, and the country could be thrown into chaos once again. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and of course don't forget to subscribe so you never miss it when we upload a new video. You can drop your recommendations in comment section of what you wanna see us make in the next one. On that note, thanks for watching. We'll catch you soon.